buried you a long time ago. But I guess graves don't hold ghosts like you. But graves don't hold ghosts like you.
Among the many creatures to crawl out of the creepypasta era, few are as recognizable or as disturbing as Eyeless Jack. His legend first appeared online in the early 2010s, where a chilling story circulated about a college student who had a bizarre encounter with something not quite human. The tale begins with a narrator waking in the middle of the night to find a dark, hooded figure sitting at the edge of his bed. When the figure turned, the student was horrified to see a featureless face, two black sockets where eyes should have been, and dark liquid dripping down his cheeks. The student later discovered that his body had been cut open, his organs tampered with as if someone or something had tried to remove them. The terrifying implication was that Eyeless Jack was more than just a monster lurking in the shadows. He was a predator who fed on human flesh and organs, choosing his victims with unsettling precision. Unlike classic monsters or folklore, Eyeless Jack was rooted in a kind of modern nightmare. The idea that your own body could be violated in your sleep, without warning, by something you don't even understand. Over time, his image solidified into one of creepypasta's most infamous icons. Fans drew him with a hood pulled right around his face, his empty sockets weeping black tar, a scalpel or knife in hand as he searched for his next victim. The simplicity of his design, humanoid but horribly wrong, made him perfect for online horror communities. He became the subject of fan art, spin-off stories, and countless YouTube narrations, growing into a figure that was less of a single story and more of a shared nightmare. What makes Eyeless Jack so effective is the way his story taps into primal fears. There's the terror of home invasion, the idea that someone could enter your private space without you noticing. There's the body horror of organ theft, made worse by the suggestion that the victim might live to remember it. And of course, there's the uncanny horror of a human figure with no eyes. Something meant to be familiar that has been stripped off its humanity. While many creepypasta characters fade into obscurity, Eyeless Jack has endured. He stands alongside Slenderman and Jeff the Killer as one of the internet's most enduring monsters. Not because his story is elaborate, but because it's unsettlingly simple. A faceless predator that comes into the night, leaves you broken, and vanishes before morning. In the end, Eyeless Jack is more than just another online monster. He's a reminder of how little control we have once we close our eyes. His legend has lasted because it doesn't just tell a story, it plants an image in your mind. A hooded figure at the foot of your bed, watching, waiting, and hungry for more than just your fear.
The Backrooms is a relatively modern urban legend, but it has quickly become one of the most disturbing. It appeared in 2019 on an image board when a user posted a photo of a seemingly endless maze of yellowed hallways, stained carpets, and buzzing fluorescent lights. The caption warned, "If you're not careful and no clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the Backrooms." The idea was simple but terrifying. The Backrooms were described as a liminal space, an infinite monotonous maze just beyond the fabric of our reality. Once trapped, you would wander endlessly through identical rooms, haunted by the droning hum of the lights and the damp smell of old carpet. Some versions of the legend mentions entities lurking in the distance, creatures drawn to lost wanderers who linger too long. What makes the Backroom so effective as an urban legend is its sense of uncanny familiarity. The bland walls and fluorescent glow mimic spaces we have all seen. Empty office buildings, forgotten storage rooms, abandoned schools. It's the banality that makes it horrifying, the thought of being trapped forever in a place that looks so familiar, yet so wrong. Over time, the legend expanded. Online communities began creating levels of the Backrooms, each with its own dangers, rules, and strange architecture. Some described rooms filled with endless stairways, flooded hallways, or machinery that hummed without purpose. This collaborative storytelling turned the Backrooms into a shared nightmare, one that blurred the line between creepypasta and modern mythology. In 2022, the legend reached new heights when YouTuber Kane Pixels released a found-footage-style short film called, The Backrooms. His series expanded the mythos with unsettling realism, using analog horror techniques to make the endless hallways feel terrifyingly real. It went viral almost instantly, drawing millions of views and sparking countless fan-made films, games, and adaptations. Thanks to this, the Backrooms have transformed from a creepypasta into one of the most influential modern horror universes online. The Backrooms represents more than just a story. It reflects our fears of isolation, monotony, and the uncanny. It plays on the idea that reality might not be as solid as we believe, and that a single misstep could strand us in a place where escape is impossible. In the end, the Backrooms endure because they feel like they could exist, hiding just out of sight behind the walls we walk past every day.
The Well to Hell. Few urban legends blend faith, fear, and folklore quite like The Well to Hell. The story first began circulating in the late 1980s and quickly gained traction in the early days of the internet. According to the legend, a team of Russian scientists in Siberia drilled a borehole nearly 9 miles deep into the Earth's crust. At first, their mission was simple: study the geological layers beneath the surface. But as the story goes, what they discovered was far from ordinary. The scientists reportedly lowered specialized microphones into the borehole to listen for tectonic activity. Instead of natural sounds, they allegedly recorded the screams of countless tortured souls echoing from the depths below. Shocked and terrified, they abandoned the project, believing that they had opened a passage into hell itself. The legend spread like wildfire after a recording of these hellish screams surfaced on radio shows in the 1980s, most famously Coast to Coast AM. This chilling audio featured wailing, distorted voices, and it became a kind of evidence for those who believed in the story. In some versions, a Norwegian television station even reported on the event, helping the tale to spread internationally. In reality, the tape was revealed to be a hoax, likely made by layering sound effects and screams from horror films. But the damage was already done. The tale of The Well to Hell had cemented itself as one of the most enduring pieces of paranormal lore in history. What makes this legend so effective is its mixture of science and supernatural. By grounding the story in something real, the existence of deep drilling projects like Russia's Kola super deep borehole, the legend feels more plausible. Listeners are left wondering, what would happen if we dug down too deep? Would we find natural phenomena that we don't yet understand? Or something far worse? Even though the Well to Hell has since been debunked, its story endures as a reminder of how folklore evolves in the modern age. It's a tale that speaks to our deepest fears, that there are places that we were never meant to reach, and secrets buried deep below us that should remain undisturbed.
The story of the Expressionless first surfaced online in the early 2010s, quickly spreading through creepypasta forums and horror blogs. It describes an incident said to have taken place in a hospital in 1972. According to the tale, late one night, staff wheeled in a pale woman wearing only a white gown. She was unlike any patient they had ever seen. Her skin was described as waxy and almost mannequin-like. Her mouth stretched into a disturbingly wide grin that revealed rows of sharp, animal-like teeth. Her face was frozen in an unnatural expression, hence the name, the Expressionless. The story claims that the woman did not react like a normal patient. She was eerily silent, staring blankly at the doctors and nurses around her. When they attempted to treat her, she allegedly lashed out, attacking one of the staff with inhuman strength. Security and medical personnel tried to restrain her, but she overpowered them with ease, moving as if she felt no pain at all. The most infamous part of the tale comes when the woman finally spoke. After a long silence, she turned to the doctors and whispered two chilling words.
I am eternal.
The lights flickered, and chaos broke out as she continued her assault. The story abruptly ends there, leaving her fate and the fate of the hospital staff unknown. What makes the Expressionless so unsettling is its presentation as if it were a lost medical report, complete with vague dates and clinical details. This format blurred the lines between fact and fiction for many readers, leading to widespread belief that the story might have roots in reality. Its combination of medical horror, uncanny valley imagery, and an ambiguous ending has helped it endure as one of creepypasta's most memorable legends. Even though it has long been debunked as a work of online fiction, The Expressionless lingers because it plays on two primal fears. The idea of something inhuman hiding inside a human shell, and the terrifying thought that such a being could walk among us without warning. And like many great internet-born legends, its power isn't in whether it's true. It's in the way it makes us imagine the impossible. Stories like The Expressionless prove that sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the ones from folklore, but the ones we create in the back of our minds, giving life by just a few chilling words and an image we can't quite forget.
The elevator game is one of the most infamous rituals to come out of internet lore. It's a modern urban legend that blends superstition with the unease of the unknown. At its core, the game claims to offer a passage into another world, but only for those willing to follow its strange and unsettling rules. They're deceptively simple. A player must enter a building with at least 10 floors and step inside an empty elevator alone. Once inside, they follow a strict sequence of pressing floor buttons in a precise order. 4, 2, 6, 10, 5. At the 5th floor, a woman is said to enter the elevator. You must not look at her, and under no circumstances should you ever speak to her. Finally, pressing the button for the first floor determines your fate. If the ritual is done correctly, the elevator will not descend to the lobby, but instead, it'll carry you to another realm entirely. It's a shadow version of our world where the lights are dim, technology doesn't work, and the building that you entered feels eerily empty. The woman on the 5th floor has become one of the most chilling parts of the entire thing. Some interpretations of the elevator game suggest that this woman is a spirit, or a test, or even a guardian of the other world. The fact that you can't acknowledge her presence only adds to the discomfort, and it creates this powerful sense of paranoia for anybody who dares to try the game. Now, the origins of this game are murky, but most believe that it first spread from South Korea and Japan through online forums and creepypasta communities, where the mix of ritual instructions and horror made it spread like wildfire. The elevator game also picked up infamy in connection with real-world events. After the mysterious death of Elisa Lam in 2013, internet users pointed out that her final footage, of her acting strangely in a hotel elevator, bore eerie similarities to the ritual's rules. Now, while Elisa Lam's tragedy has more grounded explanations, its overlap with the elevator game cemented the legend's place in online culture, undeniably mixing creepypasta with reality. On a deeper level still, the game reflects themes that are found in folklore around the world. For example, the temptation of crossing into forbidden realms and the dangers of ignoring the rules that are meant to protect us. Elevators themselves are liminal spaces. Think about it. They're small, transitional rooms that are suspended between destinations. The idea that such a place could carry you to another dimension doesn't feel so far-fetched when it's framed as a ritual. In the end, the elevator game serves as more than just a creepy internet challenge. What it's really doing is tapping into our unease with the ordinary, turning a daily routine into something entirely otherworldly. We can't help but question whether the next time we step into an empty elevator, are we just riding to another floor? Or are we taking the first step into a darker world where escape is not so easy? And perhaps the most unsettling part is that you don't need a haunted house to do this. It doesn't have to happen in some abandoned asylum or a cursed forest, right? All you need is an elevator, and it's something that you pass by probably every single day.
In the world of Japanese urban legends, few tales are as well known among children as Toire no Hanako-San, or Hanako-San of the toilet. This ghostly figure is said to haunt the third stall of girls' bathrooms in schools across Japan. According to legend, if a student knocks 3 times and asks, "Hanako-san, are you there?" a voice will answer. Open the stall, and you might find Hanako herself, often described as a young girl with bobbed hair dressed in a red skirt or uniform. The origins of Hanako-san vary depending on the region. Some say she was a child who died during World War II air raids, trapped in a school bathroom. Others claim she was the victim of bullying, or even took her own life after enduring years of torment.
These conflicting versions only add to the mystery, leaving students to wonder which, if any, might be true. Over the decades, Hanako-san has become a staple of Japanese schoolyard dares. Children whisper her name, daring each other to summon her in darkened hallways or abandoned bathrooms. The fear is amplified by the fact that bathrooms in older Japanese schools are often dimly lit, isolated, and eerily quiet. For many, the thought of encountering Hanako at the end of a school corridor is terrifying enough to keep them from playing the game at all. Hanako-san's influence has grown beyond school gossip. She appears in Japanese films, manga, and even video games, often portrayed as both a tragic victim and a vengeful spirit. In some stories, she is harmless, content to simply frighten those who summon her. In others, she drags the unfortunate child into the stall, never to be seen again. This duality, innocent ghost or malevolent entity, has helped keep the legend alive across generations. Ultimately, Hanako-san endures because she embodies fears we never quite outgrow. The fear of isolation, the vulnerability of childhood, and the unsettling thought that places meant to be safe may hide something sinister. The next time you find yourself in an empty school restroom, think carefully before knocking on the third stall. You may not like the answer that comes back. And while Hanako-san is rooted in Japanese culture, her story resonates worldwide, showing how ghost tales adapt to the spaces children know best, whether it's a playground, a classroom, or a bathroom stall. Legends like hers remind us that fear often lingers in the places we least expect.
In the early 1980s, arcade games were exploding in popularity. Kids crowded into dimly lit rooms filled with flashing screens and the sounds of coins dropping into machines. Among these games, one title has become the subject of an enduring urban legend, Polybius. According to the story, the game appeared in a Portland, Oregon arcade in 1981. Unlike Pac-Man or Galaga, Polybius wasn't just fun, it was dangerous. Players reported dizziness, seizures, memory loss, and even feelings of paranoia after playing. Some claimed they saw subliminal messages hidden within its hypnotic graphics, designed to manipulate their minds. The legend takes a darker turn, with the claim that the mysterious men in black were often seen near the arcade cabinets, monitoring players and collecting data. Rumors suggested that Polybius wasn't a game at all, but a government experiment in psychological control, testing the effects of flashing lights and subliminal cues on unsuspecting teens. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the cabinet vanished without a trace, leaving behind only rumors and fragments of memory. For decades, Polybius has been one of gaming's most famous mysteries. No physical cabinet has ever been found, no arcade owners have come forward, and no reliable evidence of the game exists. Yet, that absence has only made the legend more powerful. Early mentions of Polybius began circulating online in the early 2000s, where the mix of retro gaming nostalgia and government conspiracy theories made the perfect breeding ground for the myth to grow. The story has since spread far beyond the arcade scene. Polybius has appeared in The Simpsons, inspired indie video games, and continues to show up in pop culture as shorthand for the idea of a haunted or forbidden game. What began as whispers on obscure forums has evolved into one of the most enduring mysteries of the digital age. In the end, Polybius endures not because of proof, but because of possibility. The story combines our fascination with video games, our fear of government surveillance, and the mystery of a game that nobody can prove ever existed. Whether a real experiment or a modern myth, Polybius reminds us how easily legends can spread, and how sometimes the scariest game is the one that we're not sure we ever played.
The Rake is a modern monster, born from the dark corners of internet folklore, a creature that has terrified readers since the early 2000s. Described as a pale, hairless humanoid with unnaturally long limbs and glowing eyes, the Rake is often said to appear at night, watching its victims while they sleep. Its presence is marked not by loud violence, but by the quiet horror of realizing you are no longer alone. Stories of the Rake began circulating online in creepypasta forums, where users shared eyewitness accounts and unsettling journal entries. The earliest tales describe people waking in the middle of the night to find the creature crouched at the edge of their bed, staring silently. Sometimes it would vanish after a few moments, leaving its victim shaken but unharmed. Other times, it would whisper incomprehensible words before attacking, leaving scars both physical and psychological. These fragmented accounts created a sense of collective dread, as if readers were piecing together scattered reports of a real phenomenon. Part of the Rake's power lies in its ambiguity. Unlike older legends with clear origins, the Rake has no single cultural root. It is a creature of the internet age, designed to feel both familiar and alien. Its form recalls elements of sleep paralysis demons, alien greys, and other archetypal monsters, yet it remains undefined enough to evade any imagination. The lack of explanation, no motive, no history, no rules, makes the Rake especially terrifying. The legend also spread through so-called found footage stories, where bloggers claim to have discovered evidence of the Rake in old journals or police files. These accounts described entire families destroyed after repeated encounters, their lives descending into paranoia and despair. One of the most famous stories tells of a man who discovered the creature in his bedroom, only to later learn that his wife and child had been visited by it as well. The cumulative effect of these tales is the suggestion that the Rake is not tied to one location, but rather able to appear anywhere to anyone. The Rake's faceless popularity made it one of the most recognised monsters of early internet horror, often mentioned alongside Slender Man. It has inspired short films, fan art, and video games, cementing its place in a digital pantheon of modern legends. Its appeal lies not in jump scares, but in the slow realization of vulnerability, the fear that something could be watching you right now, just out of sight. In the end, the Rake embodies the essence of creepypasta, a monster that thrives not in folklore passed down through generations, but in shared whispers across message boards and forums. It is a nightmare given form through collective imagination, feeding on the very act of storytelling, and perhaps that's the scariest part. Because once you've heard of the Rake, you can't help but wonder if, one night, you might wake up to find it sitting at the foot of your bed.
Among the most infamous urban legends in the world, few are as chilling or as simple as Bloody Mary. The story is straightforward. Stand in front of a mirror, usually in a darkened room, and chant her name 3 times. Do it right, and the reflection staring back at you might no longer be your own. Instead, a ghostly woman with a blood-streaked face will appear, glaring at you from beyond the glass. The legend's roots stretch far back, with some tying it to historical figures like Queen Mary I of England, who was nicknamed Bloody Mary for the executions she ordered during her reign. Others claim it originated as a cautious tale for children, a way of channeling their fear of mirrors and the unknown. Regardless of the origin, the ritual has spread across generations, whispered in sleepovers and passed down in hushed tones at schoolyards around the world. Over time, the story has taken countless forms. In some versions, Bloody Mary is a vengeful spirit who claws out the eyes of those who summon her. In others, she simply appears, silently watching, her presence alone enough to terrify anyone who dares call her name. This constant retelling and reshaping has allowed the legends to remain fresh, morphing with each generation of storyteller. What makes Bloody Mary so enduring is its simplicity. You don't need a haunted house or a graveyard to experience it. All you need is a mirror, a dark room, and the courage to test whether the legend is real. For many, that's more than enough. What makes the legend even more unsettling is how it preys on the natural eeriness of mirrors themselves. Staring into your own reflection in the dark can already distort the image in strange ways. A trick of the human brain that makes faces seem to shift or melt if you look long enough. The Bloody Mary ritual takes this natural phenomenon and pushes it to the extreme, leaving participants to wonder if what they see is a psychological illusion or something supernatural answering their call.
Among the most infamous haunted objects in paranormal lore is Annabelle, a seemingly ordinary doll with an extraordinary reputation. Far from the porcelain-faced terror shown in films, the real Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, said to be possessed by a dark force. Her story began in the 1970s, when 2 nursing students, Donna and Angie, claimed that the doll was moving on its own, leaving them disturbing notes. When a psychic was called, she suggested that the spirit of the young girl, named Annabelle Higgins, was attached to the toy. The women initially believed that this spirit to be harmless, but events soon suggest otherwise. According to their accounts, Annabelle's behavior escalated quickly. The doll appeared in different rooms, claw marks were found on a male friend, and the atmosphere in the apartment grew increasingly oppressive. Fearing for their safety, the women reached out to paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens determined that the doll was not possessed by a child spirit, but was being manipulated by a demonic entity intended on gaining influence over its owners. To contain the threat, the Warrens took Annabelle and placed her in their occult museum, locking her in a glass case marked with a warning: positively do not open. Annabelle's reputation only grew from there. The Warrens spoke frequently about the case, describing it as one of their most dangerous objects they have ever encountered. Visitors to the museum claim to feel unease near the doll, and one legend tells of a man who mocked Annabelle and later died in a motorcycle accident after being asked to leave. Whether these stories are true or not, they help cement Annabelle as a modern icon on haunted folklore. The doll's legend took a new life in Hollywood, and her brief but terrifying appearance made her an instant standout. Annabelle soon became a centerpiece of her own spin-off films, including Annabelle 2014, Annabelle Creation 2017, and Annabelle Comes Home 2019. Though the movies dramatize and exaggerate the real story, they've ensured Annabelle's place as one of the most recognizable figures in modern horror. Annabelle ensures that not simply because of a claim surrounding the real doll, but because she represents the unsettling idea that evil can hide in plain sight. Dolls are meant to be innocent, even comforting, yet Annabelle twists that expectation into something deeply sinister. Whether you believe in her demonic influence or see her as a carefully crafted story, Annabelle's legacy proves that sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones we imagine. They're the ones sitting quietly in the corner, staring back at us.
Dreams are made of screams. Those who lost their minds will disagree. You travel the world on a 70. Everybody's looking for someone, and they found you. They found Sweet dreams are made of screams. The corrupted ones just won't let you sleep. They'll crawl on your wall